On this week's Down to Earth, French cattle is battling a lumpy skin disease outbreak. Farmers have been blocking roads and setting fire to bales of hay this weekend southwest of the country to protest the culling of cows. They're furious over what they see the government's heavy-handed response to an outbreak of what's known as nodular dermatitis, or better known as lumpy skin disease. On Friday, veterinarians slaughtered a herd of more than 200 cows near the French-Spanish border after discovering a single case of the disease. Several unions saying that the slaughtering whole herds is ineffective and are calling for more blockades across the country. For more on this, I'm joined by our Environment Editor, Valerie Dekimpe. Valerie, tell us more about the outbreak.
Well, it's important to note, Annette, that the disease cannot be passed on to humans, whether it's physical contact or consuming animal products. It is a viral disease. The main signs are the appearance of nodules, lumpy lumps on the skin of infected animals. Other symptoms include a fever and a drop in milk production. It can be fatal for certain animals, but not all of them. Now, it first appeared in France last June in the southeastern Savoie region and has since spread to 113 clusters affecting 75 farms. And now the southwestern Occitanie region is the hardest hit in the country. The disease was originally present in Africa, but it was first reported in Europe in 2014 with a major outbreak in the Balkans in 2015-2016. There was another outbreak in Asia in 2019, and now it's back in Europe again. It is believed that it reappeared in Italy before spreading now to France. Now, the virus is considered highly contagious according to French authorities, and the main transmission of the virus, some flies are the main transmission of the virus, some ticks as well. So by feeding onto the animal's blood, then hopping on from one animal to the other and essentially transmitting the disease. Those flies are generally observed from March to late October, but because of rising temperatures due to global warming, they are now present for much longer.
Now, the official strategy to stamp out the disease has been to slaughter all animals in affected herds. Can the animals which haven't been infected be spared?
Well, 3,000 animals have been culled so far, according to French authorities, and the government says, in their view, that is the most effective protocol. But, culling all animals, whether healthy or not, and also setting up an emergency vaccination within 50-kilometer radius of the cluster. And this has angered farmers, some of them having breeding their animals for decades. And so you can see them in some of the pictures that we have been seeing spraying manure in official buildings. Let's take a listen perhaps to some of those reactions from farmers.
We need to review the protocol. It's not working. At first the disease was in Savoie, but now it's spreading everywhere. Killing animals just like that. Riot police everywhere kicking us out. How can they treat people like that?
It's not acceptable to slaughter healthy animals. It is understandable that sick or infected animals should be culled, not the healthy ones.
Now, lumpy skin disease is classified as a Category A disease here in Europe, and that means as soon as there are signs of the disease being present, that triggers an eradication protocol. And that is because they need to prevent the disease from spreading to other European countries. And the government is saying that you can have asymptomatic cows, and so that could potentially lead to them spreading the disease, although they don't have any visible signs of the disease.
Are there any alternatives in existence, such as vaccinating all the
That's
herds?
what a lot of farmers and at least two of the largest unions here in France are calling for: a mass vaccination campaign of all cattle, 17 million animals in France. Now, both the government and one of the unions is reluctant to having that kind of massive vaccination for several reasons. The first one being a health-related reason, the fact that vaccination does not guarantee the eradication of the disease because of asymptomatic animals that can't carry the disease and continue spreading it. The second reason is commercial. Countries where vaccination is mandatory lose their disease-free status, and that disease-free status is what allows France to continue trading freely and exporting animal products. If they don't have that status anymore, that means that some countries potentially could ban the sale of French animal products. And so that is something that France, of course, wants to avoid. And that is why they're acting so quickly in order to really eradicate the disease. Vaccinating against 17 million cows is a massive logistical endeavor. And so that is something they're also keeping in mind. And critics say that by opting for cullings instead of vaccination, France is really protecting its economic interests at the expense of animals and farmers.